Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. I'm your brother, Old God from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What it do? What's good? It's your brother, same man, Bible Hip Hop News, a Monday edition of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. Oh God, what's good, my brother?
What's good, man? We back in the building like we never left this journey. We happy to be in here. We about to get straight to business today. It's a whole bunch, of stories. We're coming off a great, weekend. Too bad the Eagles lost. Did the Redskins play today?
We had a bye this week.
You had a bye this week? Okay.
We had a bye this week. So, yeah, sorry for your Eagles.
Yeah.
But y'all win a Super Bowl. Y'all get over it.
Yeah, man. You know, it is what it is. But, yeah, man, there's been a lot, man, today that popped off, man. First, I want to start off with this story. The Cardi B incident. I posted a video earlier. She had to turn herself into New York police today for a fight at Angel Strip Club. The backstory is, she ran into a couple of bartenders that, she knew from working at Angel Strip Club, back in the day. Now, the story is that maybe one of them may have slept with Offset. So Cardi B seen him and she sicked her entourage on them. So now, she has to pretty much turn herself in. She's not going to be charged, with the more of the crime, but she's going to be charged with the lesser, which is just misdemeanors at this point. So it was a big thing. If you see the video up there on the screen, she was captured coming out of court, today down there. And it was like a mob of people. They had to put her in the car and all that. So, yeah, Sam, man, what you think about that whole situation with Cardi B, given the fact that we just came off the interview with Star, I think her name was. Ha! Damn. What do you think about Cardi B, man?
Well, I seen you drop it earlier on Hip Hop News Uncensored. Shout out to that. I think you were one of the first ones to drop it.
Right.
Always seems like that's the case. But anyway, I saw it and it just seemed like something, okay, Cardi B, they may have some truth to it. She may have found herself in an immature situation. She's 25 years old. We've seen her do immature things, especially in the public eye in the past. We've seen her talk about those issues and seemingly kind of seeing the dark side of fame and what fame brings you.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of see her when she's talking about taxes, little things with the Nicki Minaj situation. Mm-hmm. She's seeing how the media can easily spin you in whatever kind of light they want to, and all you trying to do is make records and provide for your family.
Mm-hmm.
And show the personality that you are. Now, people, they ride with you, they love you. If they don't, they absolutely hate you and do anything they can to see you fall. And we obviously see that situation. Mm-hmm. She's not going to jail. She'll pay some fine. Hopefully it's a slap on the wrist and it's no more. It's neither here nor there. She can go on with her career. Mm-hmm. People can say what they want about Cardi B. They can call her a bad person, terrible this, terrible that. But at the end of the day, she's still about to perform at the Super Bowl. She's still out here.
But did you hear, not to cut you off mid, you flowing and all that.
You go, yeah.
Did you hear about her, being sued for calling some lady's dead child a monkey? Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Okay.
And, I'm not trying to laugh at the comment. Obviously not. It's just funny how everyone nowadays can try to sue you for anything. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think you also dropped this on Hip Hop News Uncensored where she was saying it was years ago, it was prior to something, and she tried to sue now. Is this something that happened in the past and now she's recently trying to sue? Or is it I'm
not sure of the actual timing, but I know she is definitely being sued for that.
You gotta watch what you say out here. You in a day and age where anything can be held against you, and it don't matter when you did it. I mean, I got to school my son all the time, letting him know to be careful now, because what you do now is going to haunt you when you're 18, 19, or whatever. You see that in a number of situations throughout 2018. It's really crazy that you can't even be young and make a mistake anymore. And I'm not justifying anything that Cardi does. I kind of disagree with some of the things she does. She's a little immature in my opinion, but that's her. I don't knock her. I love the fact that she is her. And
no doubt.
Unapologetic about it. That's one thing that I really admire about her. That she is who the fuck she is, and she doesn't apologize for it. But it doesn't seem like in today's day and age where the camera is always on our celebrities and people can say that they asked for it with the fame and whatever and the money, but they're not allowed to make mistakes. Why isn't anyone allowed to make mistakes? I mean, you remember being 25 and mistakes you made at 25, and Lord knows I do. So if they were on front of public display while we sat here on this podcast, it's like, damn, will we be able to really handle that? Should be crazy.
And it's like the situation is, though, it kind of comes with the territory now, because it's like Cardi B slip and fell, Cardi B farted, Cardi B did that. Everybody's going to post. We don't really get into that stuff, but all the blog hip hop sites, you can go up and down their line, and they're talking about all types of irrelevant bullshit on the website. So it's just like, it pretty much is what it is with that. But she's gonna have to get used to it, because as you said, she's getting bigger and bigger. She's at the Super Bowl. All these different bags are coming. Her popularity is growing. So anything you do, she's gonna have to learn And I think, you know, a lot of people are real good with the media, like Jay-Z, even though some stuff did slip out, you know, over the years, you know, as keeping as much of their life private as possible and kind of staying off of social media. You know, I know a lot of people, you know, get into certain moods, and we all have been there where we start posting different things. I know Meek Mill was talking about, and he would post all that different types of crazy things on social media when he was popping pills back, you know, back in the day. He said it out of his own mouth. So it's just like, you know, I'm just being disciplined, you know, in that regard, because you say something, you put it out there, they got it. I don't care if you pull it out once they got it. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got to be careful.
Absolutely. Oh God, I want to ask you a question about Cardi B. Transition a little bit into the music.
Yes, sir.
Now we talked about it when Bodak Yellow came out, her album came out. We were asking if she'd be a one-hit wonder, would she be here in a year or so? She dropping some little hints at singles here. There, she's about to perform at the Super Bowl, dropping a lot of features. It seems like Cardi B is trying to stick around for the long haul. She's not done with music, and from what I'm hearing, although we both kind of were in agreement that she wouldn't be around for long because she doesn't write her own records and little things like that, she got some hits. Well, whether we agree with them or not agree, I don't want to say agree, whether we like them or not, or whether we're drawn to them or not, they hits. We all know these are about to be #1 bangers based off the name and the flows and things like that. So is she around for the long haul? Were we wrong about that? Because she started, like you said, she's getting more popularity by the day. So were we wrong about that?
Did we say that she wasn't going to be around for a long time?
Yeah, I know I did.
Right.
I mean, I said that she would eventually transition into a different role.
Right, that's what you said.
You know what I mean? I didn't think that she would go away. I thought that she would evolve and go into different kind of statures. I thought that musically she was done. I didn't see another album coming. And then she dropped on the IG yesterday, her with a feature with a couple other artists, and she was going kind of international with the Hispanic and the Black man. She about to kill that shit.
I mean, you know, she's definitely, you know, making some good music. You know, as far as like real good lyrical content, it's still, I think, a disconnect from some of the other artists out there. You know, it's definitely better people. But as far as like the where hip hop is going and where it's at now, it's perfect for that.
I'm about to say
that sound.
Let's not pretend we all caring about lyrical parts and content. You got Tekashi, and we ain't gonna hate on him.
Right.
He'll admit that he ain't throwing out no real lyrical content.
But I'm just saying, like,
any record he drops is going #1. It's crazy.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying like as a shot. I'm just saying, you know, she probably will be around. You know, look like she's Nicki Minaj definitely going to have, you know, some competition. She's getting older, you know, but I still, you know, personally, even though her album I think is a good album, Cardi B, I would much rather listen to some old Little Kim, you know, some Remy Ma, you know, things like that. You know, even some Lauryn Hill, you know, rapping. That's just me. You know, the song is cool though for the radio and all that. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with them, but yeah. Nicki Minaj is going to have, you know, a problem on her hands for a long time. Not to say that it's competition.
Competition. Let me ask you another question about Cardi B real quick, old guy. Because you talked about Jay-Z. You talked about kind of like, you see the mogul he is and how when he kind of gets oppressed with certain situations, you don't really hear anything publicly. Sometimes when a record comes out, you kind of hear it through the music. Does Cardi B need someone in her corner to kind of tell her, yo, chill out. You're about to be a star. Don't react to this. Cool out. And that's for the betterment of you and your brand. Cool out. Because she does going to kind of sustain longevity in this game. Should she have someone in her corner to kind of,
I think, I mean, because it's like, it goes to the thing like her being her. That's what people look for. Like, you know, Cardi B coming to address this and saying something crazy. That's her. I think if she stops that at this point, you know, it's going to, I think it can have a negative effect. You know, and people actually forgetting about her. People, that's what got her kind of what she is. The Instagram, the little hustle like that. You know what I mean? And so yeah, man. Some, of course, obviously like the crazy things. You know, calling people dead child monkeys. You know, alleged. I don't know if that's alleged or true at this point. You know, but stuff like that can't be said. But you know, her going on there talking about she farts in her underarm sting like everybody else, and how the government's taking 45% of her earnings and all that. That's still cool, I think. In my opinion.
Is it cool for her to press Nicki Minaj at the art event? No, I don't care about the event itself. I'm just talking about the situation. Had somebody tell her, yo, cool out on this. If you want to go write her a note saying, I'm going to fuck you up, or we going to see each other or something. But don't throw a shoe at her right now because the cameras are on and they're going to paint it how they want. Now, should somebody school her on that, or you telling her to just go gung-ho and be Cardi all day, all week like that?
You know what? Remember we were watching the video. I think the channel was Impressive TV. And it was, and the way the video was broken down, you know, it kind of made me, I never thought about it that way and that was one of the incidents where, you know, they kind of put it in the video, like the labels is now, you know, all this negative publicity is starting to have a negative impact, and they're starting to groom other people to kind of take that, you know, I forget, I think Dream Doll, something like that, Cash Doll, Dream Doll, one of them is 2 dolls, you know, out there is kind of being groomed to kind of fill that role just in case Cardi, you know, implodes. Now we see the situation today, which I thought that was just a myth. I didn't think this was real about, you know, that strip club thing. I didn't know, you know, how true that was, but obviously looked like that's true. She had to turn herself in, you know, to the police. So you can't keep, just like the Migos, like I said in the video earlier, you can't keep going down this road because they will lock your ass up after certain. I don't care how much money you making. I don't care, you know, how popular you are. They like to make examples also.
Yeah, man, that's a fact.
Yes, sir. But you're listening to the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sam. Man, we back up in this joint like we never left. We want to encourage everybody to hit that like button and make sure that you share the video. As always, that's the only 2 things that we ask you to do. Sam, man, I want to let the people know about this story right here, man. This is, I know you're going to enjoy this right here. The Game, right? His weed business may lose $7 million in profit. Now, about a year or so ago, Priscilla Rainey, you know, won a lawsuit against the Game, pretty much alleging that the Game groped her vagina and buttocks. Now, the Game did lose the lawsuit for $7 million. Now, the blast, you know, it said instead of presenting the usual assets to the judge, such as numerous cars, the $2.7 million home, she is going after the Game's marijuana investment fund. And we know the Game has a marijuana company called Trees by Game LLC, which I remember he announced this, that he will be starting this business and that he may even move into billionaire status because there was something, you know, growing in that area. Obviously, we know what marijuana, you know, profits are, you like through the roof. So now she's coming to attack his fund, you know. So what do you think about this whole situation? I know the Game, I heard him say, I ain't paying her shit. So does the Game have to pay up now? What do you think about this, man?
They should have been paid up, man. Got this situation.
That's a lot of money.
Away and got. I mean, what was the settlement? The settlement wasn't $7 million, right? It sounded like she's throwing some tax on that shit now. It seems like interest is on the way. It seems like
$7 million. Yeah.
So the settlement will set up $7 million.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just trying to seize all assets. Good,
mm-hmm.
and she won.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what he says,
mm-hmm.
he kind of has to pay this, right? Or they're coming for it.
Yeah, you got to pay.
It's just, oh man. So you never want to see a brother lose $7 million.
I mean, what about him? Like, you know, allegedly.
Let me finish. Please, let me finish.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying that it justifies him doing that to a woman by no stretch. And if she won that, she's going to get her money. Then damn, it's just like, whoo, $7 million. I ain't saying don't pay it. Like I said, he should have just been paid it because now you're looking at a business, $1 billion business that you're projecting it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Pay them.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And then we know, but the thing about the judgment is like she's perfectly within her right to do this. That's the crazy part about it. Yeah,
man. She ain't playing. Come get yours.
Yeah.
Get that man. Oof.
I do feel the Game though, and say because he's in a position like he didn't do nothing, and she's just lying, so he don't want to pay. So we wasn't there. I don't know what happened. You know.
I mean, they must have had some substantial evidence to find him guilty, right? I mean,
do they ever have evidence?
They don't really ever go ahead and score off the hearsay, do they? They don't do that. I mean, this is America, right?
This is America.
They definitely don't do that.
You heard the song, man.
Hey.
Yes, sir. But you're listening to the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Oh God and Sam, man. We going all the way in today on the Uncensored Truth podcast. Please show us love and subscribe to our channel, the Uncensored Truth podcast. The link will be right below in the description box. Sam, man, I want you to talk about the Seattle Seahawks, man. What happened down there? Because this adds on to what we was talking about.
We were talking about it last week a little bit with the NFL and how the NFL was losing the battle into being America's game. NBA was really kind of kicking their ass when it came to that. The NFL players were upset, very upset about how they're being compensated. We've seen holdouts from Le'Veon Bell. We've seen holdouts from our man Earl Thomas from the Seattle Seahawks, part of the Legion of Boom, the last part of the Legion of Boom out there in Seattle, wanting his money, deserving his money, and not getting his money. And you see why he was holding out. I kind of told you last week that he was talking about if he got a headache, he wasn't practicing. He was holding his body out as best he could because he has to take care of himself, where the NFL doesn't take care of anyone. Well, yesterday playing the Arizona Cardinals, oh God, this brother tore his knee up. Tore his knee up with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the game. in the end zone, trying to defend one of the Cardinals players. I don't remember his name, collided with the helmet, tore his knee up, getting carted off field. You see him. You see the Cardinals players kind of giving him love, showing him support. He's a real dude, one of the best that ever did it. Like I said, he throws and flips the bird to the Seattle Seahawks bench. Throws him the finger. Now, we all know the history. We all know we've seen them lose against the New England Patriots a couple years back when Pete Carroll called one of the craziest calls in NFL history. Instead of giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, my goodness.
Getting the ball intercepted. It was just insane. We seen the defense really upset and never really getting over that. We seen our man, what's his name? Chandler.
Chris Chandler?
I forgot his name. It's their safety out in Seattle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, Chancellor.
Right. Chancellor. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Retired. We see our man Richard Sherman out in San Francisco now, so the pieces going away, but them never really getting over it. They were a tight-knit group.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about this Earl Thomas injury, man, and what it means to the NFL?
It means that people need to stop playing until they get some type of agreement in. But I mean, this is going to go to the next story we go, get into. I was actually looking into the whole CTE, the concussion syndrome thing, that happened, in NFL players, boxers, not just NFL, other sport, as well. But it was really shocking, to just that alone, and being that the NFL knows this and still are not willing to compensate, these brothers. Now we see Earl Thomas, and I'm guessing the reason why he gave him the bird because, like, why should he even be in there at this point? I guess I don't know. I guess he just pissed off. Like, what's the reason why are they saying that he gave the Seattle Seahawks bench the bird?
Well, you think about this. Mm-hmm. He's been holding out. You think of the NFL where there's no guaranteed contracts in there. There's no compensation for players. There's no safety for players. There's nothing for them to fall back on. If they're hurt, they're done. They're so expendable. When they retire from the NFL, you talk about CTE, which we're going to get deeper on. You talk about all the long-term effects that come with knee injuries, elbow injuries, whatever, the body crashes that they go through. No compensation for that. You've seen NFL Hall of Fame famers, talking about them really kind of boycotting that because they're not getting proper health care from the NFL after retiring, but they're getting compensated when they throw in the Yellow Jackets, when they throw the Hall of Fame ceremony every year on TV, had the events in the city, making millions and millions of dollars, but these NFL players see absolutely nothing. NFL players are getting tired of that, especially when they look at their peers in the MLB and NBA, caking and making guaranteed contracts on top of their shoe endorsements, got a little more freedom, can do this, can do that, allowed to celebrate, allowed to wear what they want. Like, come on, man. Yeah. And they ain't got to sit there and jump around in their draws and then get thrown around like cattle only not to get guaranteed contracts. They're sick of it. Right. So I can 100% see why he said F y'all.
Yeah. And that's even going to this merge right into this story here. And we know Snoop Dogg's son, on 2 different occasions, quit playing football, because after he actually researched, the CTE, which is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm not a medical major by any chance, but now you also said that you didn't let your son play football because of seeing this. And when I read it the other night, I'll tell you, it scared me. It scared me. And then to know like that, out of the people that they studied, it was like 300 out of 500 people, had this, the CTE. Now I'm gonna play a quick clip, by Dr. Robert Stern, Director of Clinical Research at Boston University, the CTE Center. Then I want to talk a little bit about this CTE a little bit, Snoop Dogg's son quitting, but the players and what they have to go through, in the NFL. So let's hear this real quick.
As far as we know, CTE has a variety of symptoms that include problems with memory and thinking, such as the inability to learn new information, remember what happened a day ago, problems with planning and organization, multitasking, and then there can also be problems with mood and emotion, so things like depression or anxiety or agitation. There can also be problems with behavior. And these are some of the more complex and difficult problems. Things like the inability to stop one's impulses, to be out of control, to have a short fuse, or to even act aggressively or to have rage. A uniform way that CT comes across in all people. We don't know that yet. And I don't think we ever will, because I think in most brain diseases and brain conditions, it's really variable from person to person, patient to patient. So with CTE, some people might have problems with mood and behavior earlier in life. Some people might have problems with thinking and memory, but not until later in life. Some people may have some combination of all of that. And it varies from person to person. That's what we're trying to figure out. Why does it vary? And can we understand who might have what problems first or next, or may never have?
So, just briefly, to think about, this, and I was right. It says out of 500 brains donated, over 300, of them were found to have CTE. So it's like, obviously, this is deadly. It could be very deadly. It can affect your behavior, your mood, all different types of things. And boxers, football players, soccer players, military veterans, a lot of people. But we're dealing with the NFL in this particular, instance. So, Sam, man, what do you think about? There's obviously, it's obvious, but for the people, we think about the this whole CTE, syndrome, and the NFL not doing anything about it.
It's tough, man. And we both played football, and we played Little League, things like that. And, we love the sport, definitely love the sport. And you talked about my son and me kind of having apprehension in that. Nothing would have made me more excited than see my son kind of carry on and play ball like I did. But the difference is between me playing ball and him is I kind of understand now. It's like when you look at it from the Little League to high school, injuries can happen, college to where they're not getting paid in the NFL. The likelihood of them even getting to the NFL was very second to none. Not to say that you can't go towards your dreams, but it's not the likelihood is very slim. On top of the fact that now you're talking about not being compensated properly. You're talking about guaranteeing yourself to be injured and harmed. And now you're potentially putting yourself in danger to die. It kind of puts me like Junior Seau.
Damn.
One of our favorite linebackers ever, played for the San Diego Chargers when we grew up. Seemed like a real down-to-earth dude. Never heard him get in any trouble throughout his years. Never heard anything. This guy kills himself, blows his head off. It's because of an attribution to CTE. You see a number of different situations where people kind of acting erratic. And it's not to give excuse to people's behavior, but it does make sense. I can go back on times playing in Little League and stuff, and us having linebacker drills and having to go like Rams and my head fucking ringing. Ringing. You hear me? And going through that through Little League, high school, college, and ignoring that because you're told you got to be tough, you got to work this. Man, we in the day and age now. It's like, for what? Why would I put myself through this? And when I look at it as a business, where's it going to? Where's the end game to this? Yeah. And the NFL better be careful, because if they don't figure out proper solutions to compensate the players, if they're going to put their life and limb on the line, I got to compensate every day. You're making billions of dollars off of this shit. You got to compensate them and take care of them right if they're going to put the risk out there. Other than that, if you don't, you might not have a product in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah, that's the fact. There might not be an NFL around. It might be shut down completely, because it's just like you can't make. You would think that they can make enough technology at this point, to subside it, but you can't. And this is just hypocritical part about this whole guy. You try to change the game. You talk about player safety. Can't hit the quarterback no more. Can't do this, and that's all about money too. Because if you care about protecting the quarterback, right, you pay them to take care of the players. Right. You care about them. You care about your brand. You care about the money. That's why they're protecting the quarterback, right? And not only diluting their brand even more. You got more defensive players, mad defensive players who are becoming obsolete. If they're becoming obsolete, they're gonna start getting paid less. Who's gonna be on the defensive side of the ball sooner or later? We might start seeing spikes in other sports. We might see boxers start getting back in the ring and seeing heavyweights go back to another level, or UFC going to another level, because these athletes are going to go up to NFL. For what? Why would I put myself through this when y'all ain't even paying me? Not guaranteed. And then I got to go and deal with the rules and hurt myself even more. Yeah, man. So definitely. I salute anybody who says, walks away, from the game at this point. I know it's a tough decision. We grew up, we love the sport. Absolutely love it. Love this to the smell of the grass.
As a matter of fact, I'm headed to a field right now. We leave here, you know. But yeah, man, yeah, definitely. But yeah, you're listening to the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother Oh God and Sam. Man, we going all the way in today on this Monday. We back at you. Also, quick announcement: we will be going live on Friday night once again. You know, for our Friday night show, the Uncensored Truth podcast. That'll be live on hip hop news Uncensored. Man, we got to talk about this one because this one came out, I think, late last night. Now, we talked about this. We actually went live, I think, Friday.
Yeah, man.
You know, we talked about Lil Wayne's tour bus shooting back in 2015 and allegedly Young Thug and Birdman, you know, being behind it. But when at the time we put the story out, you know, we didn't, you know, it was kind of like when it was really nothing else out there. But now a phone call has been released. Sam, man, I'm going to play this. Then we're going to get into this story. This is crazy, man. Let's hear this jailhouse phone call between Birdman and the alleged person.
In this new civil court filing we obtained, the driver's attorney points to phone records showing Young Thug called Winfrey 8 times in the moments before the shooting. They also point to this jailhouse call between Winfrey and Birdman.
You come out here and get your money. Well, my name is Brett. You did everything you could do, bro. It's an eye opener, bro. Party on that strictly business, man.
Manny Aurora represented Winfrey in his first trial.
The musician that was the intended target has never once said these guys did it or there was a beef. This is just a bus driver looking to get paid and they need a deep pocket. So if you can connect Mr. Winfrey to some other musicians or executives, you know, that makes it a viable case for them.
So this is the clip, you know, that we have here. Is there another clip available? That's the only clip. That's the one that we got. Okay, so yeah, man. It's crazy. It looks like, I don't know if there's probably more to the conversation. They just probably didn't put all of it out. That's just a leak part of it. You know, did they try to get rid of my man Weezy? What's going on, Sam?
Let's put it like this, man. When we talked about it live, we were both saying that the likelihood of this going down was like slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nah, we don't see Birdman, even though he owed him $51 million. Let's think about that for a second. $51 million.
Strictly business.
You know what I mean? It's no way that he could do this to his son, right?
Son.
So then we hear the audio. Now let's be real frank about it. Let's be objective. Frank Paul. He did not say Lil Wayne's name in there. He didn't confirm anything as far as, yo, did you do it? Did anything? It was really vague. But that being said, you called his brother 8 times prior to the shooting. We know that he was the one busting off, and it don't look good. Now, I can see how a defense lawyer can finagle that.
Oh, yeah.
We know Birdman's pockets are deep, so he's going to make sure that they take care of business at all costs. And it's going to have to be an undoubted amount of circumstance and evidence to show that he had anything to do with this. But it doesn't look good. We all know what it sounds like. We all know what it feels like. And Wayne damn sure knows. So, what you thinking?
I mean, you know, remember it was a Kanye West got on stage. And ironically, we're going to talk about Kanye next. He kind of said, you know, hope Jay-Z don't kind of send his goons after me. So it's real. And I'm not saying, you know, I don't know any information, you know, besides what's on this publication. We weren't there in the situation, but money's involved. You talking about millions of dollars, man. You never know what, you know, and that's not act like people don't get hits put on them on the street, killed in the street every day, and all these different places where these brothers is from. So, you know, I don't know, man. You know, like you said, it looks nasty. It looks very, very nasty. But we do have to as we always do, let it go through the process. But you know, there may be, you know, some type of indictment coming down. You know, very soon. It may not be. I mean, that'd be crazy if we get a headline that says Young Thug and Birdman indicted. You know, for shooting up, you know, ordering a hit on Lil Wayne's tour bus. That'd be crazy, man.
You see it going that far? You see it taking it there?
I mean, it's inching closer and closer to that. I mean, you know, if you pay somebody, I mean, nobody was hurt, if I'm not mistaken. But still, I mean, you could be hit with attempted murder. You know, and then you always know they say when you put out the contract, you know, they get more than the person who actually did it. So that whole thing, you know, there is crazy. So, you know, we just reporting the news at this point. I don't know. Again, we wasn't there, but right now, it's looking fucked up for Birdman and Young Thug. For real. I don't care how deep their pockets is, dog.
Yeah,
you know?
If there's evidence out there and it's out there and it's so much and clearly points to them, then yeah, they in some trouble. And I hope it's not the case, but it ain't got nothing to do with hope. If it's facts, it's facts. They're gonna come out sooner or later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But you're listening to the Uncensored Truth Podcast with your brother, Old God and Sandman. We're going in today on this Monday afternoon. We want to ask you to do two things as usual. Please hit that like button and make sure that you share this content. It really does help us. So yeah, man. Sandman, you got the Kanye, Yeezy, was on TMZ, I think it was, talking to the cat Harvey Levin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
today.
Man. He was on there talking to Harvey. He likes TMZ for some reason. And check this out, old guy. He's trying to get Colin Kaepernick and Donald Trump together for a meeting to try to create peace. Now, let me start by saying ain't nothing wrong with creating peace. Ain't nothing wrong with creating dialogue. This is what it's all about. Salute Kanye. But this kind of feels like, I don't know. Let's play the clip for the people real quick, and then let's get your perspective.
What you're saying. So now I'm waiting for a question from me.
My point is, at a point.
Yeah, that's your point. We're not making a point. You're gonna ask me a question.
Do you give up on somebody growing when they are unrelenting at a point when you say they are who they are?
And I love it. Now you asked me the perfect question. You set me up to win. We never give up on anyone. We never give up on anyone. Now let me even make that more positive. We move forward. We give love. We keep going. We keep having the conversation until the conversation turns to love. We keep going. I've been calling Colin this morning, reaching him so I can bring Colin to the White House and we can remove that sons of bitches statement and we can be on the same page.
Think about that.
I think it's silly, man. I mean, I don't want to sound like that, but it's just like, I don't know what Kanye West is doing at this point. Like he's trying to be some type of diplomat, bringing people together. And, I get it though. I get it. I mean, we've tried things like this, but I don't think this is how it's going to happen. With that whole peace thing. I mean, I think there's a clear agenda, out there. And, with this whole thing, like, I don't think that's going to stop, people from getting shot down in the street by the police and things like that, because Colin Kaepernick and, Donald Trump have a meeting.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I think that, I don't know, I feel like this is genuine on Kanye West's part. What he's saying, he really genuinely feels.
No doubt.
He wants this to genuinely go down, right? But let's say that Colin Kaepernick goes for it and Donald Trump says, get the fuck out of here. Which, I mean, in turn, will pretty much lose all respect, because you're sitting there calling him great, calling him this, you're doing this, but you won't take this meeting with this man. Now, obviously, the agenda's clear. Well, let's say Colin Kaepernick does it, said, I don't want to do it. Now, does that kind of change Kanye West's perspective? Did that change? Do you think the MAGA hat comes off if Donald Trump says no?
Nah, I don't think so. Because I think Donald Trump was already been saying some things that kind of people kind of pointing to, like, dang, he kind of shading you, and you still like ride with this cat. You heard a lot of people come out, Swiss Beats. I saw T.I., and every people in there liking it when you co-sign it. So people don't like the fact that Kanye West is kind of, I don't want to say sucking up to Donald Trump, but trying to really get his attention in a way that's, just seems kind of weird at this point. But, I'm not hating on it, man. If it could bring progress and peace, I'm with it at this point.
Let me ask you a question. We see, and this is a little touchy, but we're gonna have this conversation. You see a lot of, we hear, like I said, you see the rhetoric. I think we both agree that Donald Trump's racist. And we see a lot of people within, especially our culture in Black America, saying if you even ride with this dude anything, you would dance in Uncle Tom. And then we know some brothers from a business perspective that understand the blueprint, the business plan, and kind of, I don't want to say can get away from the rhetoric, so to speak, but don't bring it up just as much. So where is there a line drawn between, okay, yeah, he may be doing things great financially from a business perspective, but he's shitting on your culture? Is there a line that could be drawn? Or what do you say to those that'll say he's no different than your Bushes and your Clintons or whoever? He's just kind of blatantly showing you what it is. What do you think? What do you say?
I think, when anybody kind of, my thing is, like, I look at it like this: when somebody showing you who they are, then as like, it gives you an advantage. If these people are going to be this way, if they got this thing set up and this, because now what you got to do to try to avoid it. So I think, you know, as a people, as a group, man, no president, anybody can stop us. I mean, people would even argue, you know, under Obama, things are even worse. Different, you know, policies, procedures, laws, whatever you want to go down the line. So, you know, I don't really get wrapped up in that, man. As a businessman, you know, as me and you are, it kind of comes down to the bottom line. You know, not to say that I don't, you know, people who do have their grievances still air them out with President Trump or whatnot, air them out. But it just comes down to the bottom line with me, you know, and mine, and you know, and that's pretty much, you know, what he can do or can't do, you know, for me, my family, my business, and whatnot. So that's what it comes down for me.
Do you see the bigotry as kind of like smoke and mirrors, or do you think it's genuine?
And you talk about in whose regard?
President.
That's a good question, man. I think it's a little bit of both. I think definitely a little bit of both, you know, in that regard. When you're talking about, you know, he's smarter than he comes off. I mean, obviously, you know, he grew a lot of businesses from scratch. You know, he's a great businessman. So, yeah, man, I think it's a little bit of both, you know, but I think that he does have a little bit of, some of that stuff is real too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, he can't help himself.
I think it's genuine amongst a lot of old
white
men.
Right, definitely.
To be perfectly honest with you, I think he's just kind of showing you when people are getting outraged, but you gotta like, what do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect? But like, you can't use it as a crutch, and you can't use it as a way to complain or say this is the reason why I can't. No. We can't do that because this is what got us behind the line for so long, or behind the 8 ball for so long.
Yep.
You know what I mean, saying we can't, not really trying to find the opportunities to get out. Play this game and understand the game we in. So
facts.
I gotta agree with you on that, old guy, for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But you listen to the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Oh God, and Sam, man. Yeah, man. I think that's all we got today, if I'm not mistaken, man. On Uncensored Truth podcast, man. A little late today, but it is what it is, man. We do appreciate everybody who's listening, you know, to the podcast. And as always, hit the like button and make sure that you share this video. So yeah, man, we got we did our interview.